Hey, do you have questions about VA loans? Today, I'm answering some of those questions like who qualifies for a VA loan, what they can be used for. A lot of people right now are talking about assuming VA loans, which is fantastic if you're buying from somebody who has used a VA loan. Even if you're not a military member, you could potentially assume that loan at the interest rate they got 2 years ago. So maybe in the 2.5% range or, lower than today's rate if it was in the last couple of years, which is really beneficial for a buyer. But there's some things that you need to know about it, and there's some things that the military member also need to know about it. So if you've got questions about VA loans, this is the video for you. My name is Jacqueline Stonehawker. I'm a realtor in the Augusta, Georgia area, and we're going to get started right now. I have Daniel Yonchak here with us today. He is a mortgage lender.
Mortgage loan
officer at Queensboro Bank, and he's one of the great guys that we refer our clients to get pre-approved and pre-qualified, and we really like him. So he's going to help us out today and tell us about VA loans.
Yeah, so Daniel Yonchak, Queensboro National Bank, been there about 10 years, I guess, this year. And we specialize in mortgage lending products, so conventional, FHA, VA, and portfolio loans. So.
Okay, why don't we start with what is a VA loan?
Yeah, so VA home loan, guaranteed by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. It is a loan product that is available to eligible active duty military or people who have served in military prior, and eligible surviving spouses.
Okay.
And so that loan is a 15 or 30-year fixed rate loan, and it also has no down payment and no mortgage insurance required.
Okay. And who qualifies for VA home loans?
Yeah, so kind of some special stipulations there to have done that. So that is service members who have served at least 90 days of continuous active duty time, 90 consecutive days of wartime, 181 days during a peacetime, and then have served more than 6 years in the National Guard or Reserves.
Okay.
So some special stipulations there on who can qualify. Sometimes people will call us and say, hey, I just got enlisted and I'm in training or vice versa, but they have to have met those time frames to be able to then qualify for the home loan benefit.
Okay, all right. And if they want to see about their VA eligibility, how would a service member find out about that?
Great question. So an actual service member, either current or formerly, has access to the VA portal in most cases. They can actually go on that website and request their certificate of eligibility, and that will be either mailed to them or they can download electronically, or they can call a local mortgage lender. And we have access to the VA website directly. We can input their social security number, date of birth, and it spits it out in 2 seconds.
That's convenient.
That's right.
That sounds like the easier way to go.
That's the easier route to go. Call us and we'll handle it. And then that document will tell how much they can qualify for and if they've ever had any VA home loans before or currently, formerly or currently.
Okay. If a widow, a surviving spouse, wants to use the VA home loan, what is their process for proving eligibility? Is that the right word?
Right. So actually I had one recently. We had a surviving spouse was moving from Maryland. Her husband was actually killed while currently serving in active duty, but was here in the States and was tragically killed. And so she assumed his VA benefits and was receiving all of those, in which the VA will walk you through that process of getting those benefits. So if you're a surviving spouse and you're unsure if you have those benefits, the VA is very good about allowing those surviving spouse members to get those benefits. And so those will start rolling pretty quickly. They will call us, and then we will pull that certificate of eligibility under that deceased veteran's name, and then it will show the benefits there, and then also show that the spouse is eligible to do that VA home loan. And we work it up like a regular VA home loan. So but that's the main thing. If you get the benefit and you know you got the benefit, easy from there.
Okay. If a military member wants to own more than one home, do they have that option?
Yeah, so it's a great question. That question actually happens a lot. And a lot of people call us and say, I've got a VA home loan. I'm not going to be able to get another one. That's not the case. So you can have two home loan or VA home loans. Of course, we need to make sure that you can qualify with both home loans. So if they don't have a current VA home loan, they have what we call full eligibility. Mm-hmm. And so there is no maximum loan amount that they can qualify for. Mm-hmm. So $1 million, sure, go right ahead. The VA will guarantee that.
That's a recent change, right?
That's a recent change. Yes, that's correct. But if they do have a current VA home loan, there's a calculation that we have to do to determine if they have enough eligibility.
Okay.
And so we will put that calculation into a formula that the VA gives us to do, and that will allow us to know, at this sales price, can they qualify for 100% financing, or is a down payment required? Mm-hmm. And if a down payment is required, that would have to be done for them to be able to access that VA home loan benefit. Okay. So the answer is yes, but it all depends on if they currently have one, how much of that sales price or loan amount's already tied up to be able to qualify for one.
And then as far as maybe a military member wanting to purchase an investment home, mm-hmm. are they allowed to purchase investment homes using their VA eligibility?
Right. So that's a good question as well. And unfortunately, the answer is no. So the VA home loan is strictly for primary residence purposes mm-hmm. only. If you're looking to do investment property or investment property purchase, then that is going to be a conventional loan.
Okay. Yeah. But they could always, maybe if they move to a base, use the VA loan to buy a home mm-hmm. they're going to live in it for 2 years, and then when they move, it's just...
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, so if you acquire a home and you've lived there for a couple of years, and maybe your family size has grown, or you're relocating PCS into another fort, you can definitely keep your current VA home loan as an investment property. There's nothing you need to do. Stays as it is. Keep making your payments. That home becomes an investment property, and then once again, we're going to requalify you to see if you can do another VA home loan benefit for there. But it can turn into an investment property, but that can't be your primary intention.
Can't be the purpose. Okay. Yeah. So one of the things I hear a lot is VA appraisers are tougher on home loans. Is that true?
Yeah, that's like a myth that's been around for a couple of years, actually. But what they're looking at is the safety and soundness for the veteran. When they're going through homes and they're looking at the condition of the home, they're not going to require paint touch-ups and things like that. That's what we call cosmetic. But what they are going to look at is, things that hinder the home unsafe. And for example, in the laundry room, there is a linoleum floor. And in that door threshold, walking into that laundry room is peeling up. Well, that's a trip hazard for the veteran. So they're going to require that to be fixed before the closing, and then we'll have to send the appraiser back out there to reinspect. But really and truly, the VA loan appraisers are not as harsh as one may think. They're just looking out for the safety and soundness of the veteran to ensure that they're going to get a quality home that will take care of them and not give them other problems.
Right. Can you explain what a VA loan assumption is?
Yeah, so that's a good question as well. So that's something that's come up in our market really this year with rates being on the rise. Historically, we were at very low rates the previous years, and now we're at a higher time. So VA home loan assumptions come back around again. And what that is where a current veteran has or a service member has their has a VA home loan, and with that home loan they have one of those very good low rates compared to what the current market is today.
Right.
They can market the sale of their house with that VA home loan, and the buyer can not only buy the house but assume that current VA mortgage.
Okay.
But with that, though, there's some special stipulations that you have to be aware of for that buyer. That buyer would have to meet that lender's income and credit requirements. Mm-hmm. There is a funding fee, which is 0.5% they would have to pay. But the cool thing about all of that is the person buying that home does not have to be a service member or former service member. It can be someone who's never been in the military whatsoever. Okay. And they can assume that mortgage.
Okay. And does that affect the VA members' eligibility?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So that's something to be aware of too. So when they're marketing this home to be sold, and you're looking at your potential buyers, and you're going through that process of the VA loan assumption, the buyer, if they're currently in the military and they have eligibility, that seller can say, "Hey, Mr. Buyer or Mrs. Buyer, will you please use your eligibility to assume this loan?" And they can do that, which would free up the seller's eligibility. Okay. However, if the buyer does not have any prior military service and has no eligibility, or it's a service member who does not have enough eligibility, then that eligibility would stay on that seller until that loan's paid in full.
Okay.
Which is a big thing. That seller may think, hey, I've got my loan assumed, I'm done, I'm ready to go. But if that eligibility's not been restored, that could hinder them on their next purchase.
Right.
If they're not wanting to rent, then or do a VA home loan, they're going to want that eligibility restored.
Okay.
To another VA home
so if a military member doesn't have enough eligibility to buy the next home, they would have to maybe use conventional or something like that.
That's correct. Or go through that down payment process. Now we're going back to what we talked about earlier. They would have to put a down payment down. Okay. So the VA home loan assumption is a great program, especially to get rid of your home quickly when the military member is in a special situation to get rid of that home. But they need to be aware of their eligibility may not be restored.
Okay. And to restore it, you were saying the loan just needs to be paid in full?
That's correct. Okay. Yeah. And which is really easy. Ireland, I guess all the local lenders in town have access to that VA, and they can upload, the documentation saying that loan's been paid in full, and immediately that eligibility is restored.
Okay. All right. So what is something that you'd like to say to someone considering a VA?
Yeah. So, the VA loan program is a great program. And it's probably one of the best programs that is available to current military members and former. And so I would say if you are eligible to do that, or unsure if you're eligible, call a local lender, allow us to see if you are eligible to do it. Utilize this great program to get yourself into a home and not rent, and allow you to provide a home for you and your family. But we're glad to help, willing to help, and give us a call. And be glad to see what we can do for you.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Daniel, so much for being with us. Daniel's always been really great and very fast to approve our potential buyers, and we really appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Hey, here's a little extra for you. When I was making the thumbnail for this video, I started searching for a picture of my husband and I, or just my husband in his military uniform, to use on the clip art, and then I was having a hard time actually finding something that I wanted to use. And so I started looking for something of my dad, and I found this really, really sweet picture of my mom and dad together ready for the military ball. And I found another of my husband and I together on his graduation day from the DLI. I remember the day that my mom bought that pink dress and how enamored I was with the dress. I specifically remember seeing it on the rack of the Bon Marché, and when I saw my mom in it, I thought she was the most beautiful person in the whole wide world. I was about 5 at the time, and my dad was just graduating from, I can't remember. This is when we lived in Boise. Anyway, when I got these two pictures together, I just was so struck by how awesome it was to have a picture of my mom and dad and myself and my husband together, kind of in the same position, in the same pose, and just really miss my dad. He passed away at the beginning of the year. My husband's been having some health issues this year from some of the things that happened while he was in the Air Force. And so just kind of overwhelmed by the emotion and the pride that I have in my mom and dad and my husband's service in the military. So anyway, I just wanted to give a little backstory on that thumbnail and those two images. Thanks for listening.